Number 4 on the practice test. All right, this one has multiple steps, A through E. First one's easy. Graph the data from the table onto that XY plane. Step 1 is done. There you go. So here's a coordinate 0, 6, 0, 6, and then you have 1, 10, and then you have 2, 14, and then you have 3, 18, and then you have 422. Piece of cake. So the next thing we have to do is realize that this is a perfectly straight line. Normally, you want the line that best fits, so when you try to make that line that best fits, you realize that all these dots are perfectly on a straight line. So this blue line is the line that best fits. And as you can see, the dots are perfectly on the line, so we could even take it as far to say that the correlation coefficient R is equal to +1. Anyway, what we need to do is come up with an equation for this line that best fits, that's perfectly on the dots, and the equation is going to be y equals mx plus b form. And in order to write it in y equals mx plus b form, we need an m and a b. Now the b value, it's pretty clear because it actually is at the coordinate 0, 6, so the b value is clearly 6. Now the problem is we need to find m, and how are we going to find m? We're going to find m using the slope formula. And there is my slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we need 2 points, so I'm going to use the 0, 6 and also the 1, 0. And when we plug it in, we should plug it in, I always say, with the division and the subtractions first. And let's go with y2, that's the 10, minus the y1, which is 6, then the x2, which is the 1, minus the x1, which is the 0. And if we work this out, we're going to clearly get 4 over 1. That means that our m really is 4. So we have the m, we have the b. That means we have the line that best fits equation. And that line that best fits equation is y equals 4x plus 6. And I believe that's the option C. They're asking, or not option C, but part C. Write the equation for the line that best fits. This is it right here. Okay? So this is kind of weird because you need to be able to get this one first. You need to be able to get the line that best fits, which we already did. You need this first in order to describe the parent function and the transformation that best approximates the new line, the y equals 4x plus 6. So let's go down and actually write down the answer. Okay, so part B says describe the parent function and the transformation. Well, part B, we know that the parent function is y equals x. But before we even describe the transformations, let's actually state the line that best fits, which is option C, or not option, step C right here. Write the equation of the line that best fits. Let's write that down here. That's y equals, whoops, sorry about that, 4x plus 6. So now that we know that the line that best fits is y equals 4x plus 6, we could go back to step B and describe the parent function, which is a linear function. It's y equals x. And we also want to describe the transformations that this parent function goes through to get to this. Let's first start off by looking at the a value of 1. And right here, the a value is 4. So what we need to say is that this parent function first gets vertically stretched by 4. Okay, because we're ignoring the 6 right now. We're just focusing in on the 4. It's a vertical stretch of 4. And then after that, it gets translated 6 up. Let's now move on to the step D, which says predict the hour in which the organism will reach 32 in number. Okay, so if we're talking about reaching 32 in number, then we're talking about organisms right here as opposed to the time. So they're not giving us time. They're not saying predict where it's going to be at 9 hours. They're saying predict the hours in which the organism will reach 32, which, what are they really giving us? They're giving us the organism, 32. They're not giving us the hour. So they're giving us y, they're not giving us x. So what we need to do is predict when, how much time it'll take for the organisms to reach 32. One option is to simply look at the pattern and then keep going with the pattern here, here, and then here. It looks about right there, which is 6.5. So if you extended this line, it looks like it would be 6.5. So visually, you could say it'll take 6.5 hours, 6.5 hours. Another option is to, again, realize that they give you the 32, which is the organism number, which is the y. So they're giving you y. This time they're not giving you x, they're giving you y. And they're telling you that y, it says up here, is 32. So they're saying at what time, at what hour will the organism reach 32? That means at what x will the y be 32, right? The organism's 32, the organism is y. So right here, plug in a 32 and then you could solve it. And if you did do this equation and you solved it, minus 6, you'd get the equal sign, the 4x on this side, and you'd get 26 on this side, and then you divide by 4, and you get your x equals 26 divided by 4 is 6 2/4. But what is 6 2/4? It's 6.5. Same answer, right? So you could solve it algebraically by realizing that they're giving you y, and they're asking for x, so you plug in y and solve for x. Or you could do it visually by following the line that best fits and just extending it and realizing, right here at 32, right here, that's 6.5 hours. Either way is good. And now for the last one, predict the number of organisms in the Petri dish at 17.5. I'm looking at this one right here, the E. And once again, right here, they're giving us the hours, and they want to know how many organisms. So they're giving us x, and they want to know the y. So let's plug in this value into x. Remember, to make predictions, you just plug it into your line that best fits and work it out. So I'm going to plug it in down here. So here's my equation, and I simply take my 17.5 and plug it into the x, and that's what I have here. And when I work it out, you get 76, I'm sorry. So y actually equals 70 plus 6 is 76. I did it on a calculator, by the way. I couldn't do 4 times 17.5 in my head. Anyway, that's your answer. And you would say on option E, you would say 76 organisms. Organisms. There you go. And that's the whole problem. I hope this helps.